Today on this old 395, we're actually going to do a case swap. And you said case swap? What the hell? Well, we've got the traditional 395 issues where this has all been worn out to epic proportions. The case is even cracking right there. There's not enough room to put any kind of insert. Bolts broken off in there. Sit tight. And we're going to make this thing like brand hammer new. Well, I was going to do a time lapse, but with the frame rate and my LED lights, it doesn't jive. It would have put you into a tiz. Just like always, man. I mean, Jesus, this thing's nasty as shit. I'll probably have more time in cleaning. All these bolts you have to spray out with compressed air and then, dig your screwdriver in to get, the Allen head freed up. If you haven't seen one of these tools before, this works on a lot of stuff. It's a Husky tool. Holtz Foreman makes them. But, you just, let me back this out a little bit. Get my little centering point on the end of the crank. Make sure that that's level. And it just depends. Sometimes if you crank on this, you can feel, all right, I'm going. Sometimes you'll actually have to put some pressure on this and give it a swift tap. But I mean, yeah, it's a $60 tool. Boy, it is the right tool for the job. And then same thing over here. We're just going to repeat this. Let me back this out. Won't need to go quite as far. Slide that at the top. Snug that down on top of the back side of the bearing. Make sure you're level because you want to push. Okay. That's awful tight. And you don't want to put so much pressure. There we go. And now, just sometimes that little shock is good. Obviously, I didn't just wail on it all ham-handed. But there's your case split in a minute or two. All right, I got my little box of goodies from Saw Salvage Dukes. This is a Farmer Tech case, says so right there. It does come with seals and it does come with bearings installed. These don't look like they're hardened, so I'll probably use the original bar studs. Boy, look how nasty everything is. I mean, that's probably, if that was squeaky clean, it'd probably cut this job in half. But I mean, everything is just covered. I've blown some of this stuff off. The air deflector was an inch thick with goop. But I mean, it's just typical. It's just a work saw. So, ooh, and I got something else in here. Try and keep my clean stuff clean. I forgot what I gave for these, but I want to say it was like 45 bucks for 3 25-inch loops of chain. I can't wait to try this because that's cheap. Anyway, let me dissect that, clean all of this and that so we can go back clean and correct. I can't stress this enough. This aftermarket case has a place here. We're doing a relatively thrifty repair for what would be a very expensive deal. So like I said, these come with bearings and seals installed. I personally won't use them, but just remember, if you're gonna, this isn't the place to cheap out. You've got everything disassembled, you got a saw in the box, you got cleaning time, you got everything else. The aftermarket seals may be fine just because I've got some factory seals. I'm good. But, you know, use some good Japanese bearings. These are like $7, $8, $9 a piece. This is not where you want. So watch this. So that moves. I'm going to try to be real quiet and just listen. Oh, got a little, you know, there's a booger in there. So, you know, just remember that these aren't like sanitized before they're shrink wrapped. You know, same thing over here. Got a little booger in there. That might clean out, but here, you just listen. Now, make that go 10,500 RPM in the cut and see what it sounds like. And that just might be trash in the bearing, but I mean, again, you're here, starting spot. There's 20 bucks to the good. Do it. Here's a trust but verify thing. So I've knocked the bearings out of here and they came out pretty easy. So I measured the bearings against my Japanese bearings and the bearing tolerance is right. But there's only about a 1,000 to 1,500 interference fit in this pocket. So I'm going to use some Loctite sleeve retainer in here because I don't think that's quite enough. I think it's supposed to be a 2 or 3 thousandths interference fit for that pocket, and I don't want to see a bearing spun in this because that will make a huge mess down the road. Well, the sleeve retainer was a great idea because those installed really easy. So this will take up, I mean, it's already an interference fit. I just need something for it to bond. On another note, I drove out the factory studs that came out, and you know, it was actually great. But you know, when I picked them up, I mean, they were light in my hand, and I'm like, you know, somebody's going to strip these. Let's just put the factory ones back in. So when I punched the old ones out, or the Holtz Farmer Tech, whatever that, yeah, Farmer Tech studs out, I was like, okay, that's wow, that was a good fit. And I put the factory ones in there and they just fell into place, and I'm like, oh crap. So there's nothing worse than losing a bar stud into your oil tank and then having to fish it out and put it back in. So I set a little bit of Honda Bond in there and then just did some old school peening with a punch on all 4 corners, and now they're in there nice and tight. Just something else to look out for. Well, I certainly have made a mess, but that's the thing with these Huskies. You know, you got 3mm, 4mm, and you've got 3/16 SAE for the head bolts and 10mm for mufflers. And anyway, I didn't have every last screw that I could put back all Allen. 2 of these were Torx up top. I didn't have the proper fasteners. But anyway, needed a set of dogs for this, and I actually had a 395 wrap kit. Those of you who are savvy know that you could buy this wrap kit from Husky for like 45 or 50 bucks at the counter, and it comes with the handle, screws, and a set of dogs, you know, which is a killer deal because, you know, if you're going to buy some dogs, and even aftermarket dogs, I mean, hey, you're getting a free handle. You know, he's still got his half wrap just in case there's an uh-oh somewhere down the road. But that's done. Didn't have any other issues with the crankcase. Everything went together really nice. Good flat surface right there with the cylinder base down. That was all machined together. All the holes were in the right place. I didn't have to tweak or do anything like that. Just his bearing pockets weren't quite up to snuff. But here, we'll take it outside and have a little proof of life. Just run it, rev it. I'll tell you what, I love the way 395 sounds idling.
I'd say we've got a really solid long-term repair for this. You know, there's no more stripped holes as long as we can stay on top of it. You know, it's a Husky thing, man. I mean, you just got to make sure every couple of tanks of gas that everything's all nice and tight. And that, because what happens is as that screw starts to back out, it rattles in that hole and it just keeps making it bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you're past easy repairs. Anyway, saw's been fully apart. You know, bearings look good, are brand new now. Crank look good, pistons and rings. It's got great compression. Should be good to go for a long time. Price on this was around $400 with parts and labor. You know, I don't work nearly as expensive as, you know, the dealerships do, and this is a good customer. So anyway, there you have it. I will see you on the next one. Y'all don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate everything.